Hi, everyone. I'm Annika Hurwitt, and I'm very honored to be here and share a little bit about what I know for sure about the principles. I love that question because one of the things that's been hitting me really strongly in the last year or so is that what I know for sure is that these principles have incredible traction. And, to bring people back to their mental health, no matter how lost they become. And I know this for sure because I've been seeing it for 25 years. That, people visit their mental health and well-being, whether they're high-functioning, executives or struggling teenagers. People visit their mental health through meditation or working out or doing their favorite activity or their spiritual path like I used to do. I used to get caught up in a lot of stress, and then I'd meditate and calm down, and then I'd be caught up in a lot of stress. And it looked like mental health and well-being were this sort of esoteric spiritual thing that I got to visit and taste. And then I had to go back to real life, which looked hard and stressful. And what I know for sure is that the principles provide the bridge between the formless and the world of form. And in the world of the formless, when we realize mind, consciousness, and thought, what they mean is that there is a formless world that gives rise to the world of form that is built into us. And when we even just contemplate that or get introduced to that, our mind restores itself almost instantaneously. It's like I heard Sid Banks, I was listening back to one of his videos recently, and he says that's where the rebirth occurs, when you go back into the unknown. And we all see this over and over again. And it's like a miracle every time that the same order that's built into the cosmos that allows the stars and planets to move through the heavens in an orderly way, or that gives rise to the patterns we find in nature, like the Fibonacci series or fractals, coming from beyond us, not created by us, but that provide an order that allows us to make sense out of life. That same order is built into each and every one of us, as has been revealed by the three principles. And that when we tap into that order, we tap in to our well-being, our mental health, our capacity for insight, our capacity for healing. And the principles give you a map of understanding that if you stray too far from home, you'll know it by the way you feel. When you start to have that stress factor, or you start to be unhappy or anxious, you've strayed too far from home. A metaphor that occurred to me this morning when I was thinking about this talk is that I recently got one of those robot vacuum cleaners, that go around the house automatically. Oh, I love it so much. I've named her Broomhilda. And, when she's done a whole lot of cleaning, she's been out there gathering up the dirt. Sometimes she just heads for home and she gets back on her charger. And I have this sense that she's needing to refresh and restore herself. And she knows when to do it and how to do it. And we have that same capacity built into us. The principles reawaken you to that, because as children, we all knew that. Nature's design is built into us. The prompts that consciousness sends us to come back home when we need to are there. The principles reawaken us to that awareness. And then when we've strayed too far into the world of form, we have a signal to come back home. Home is the world of the formless, where miracles occur, where depression lifts, where problems that looked intractable suddenly disappear, and in their place you have mental clarity and the capacity to sort them, where you experience empowerment and your deep connection to a spiritual reality that's giving rise to all of this. And this is something that you may not know consciously, but everybody knows on some level of their being. I teach practitioners how to teach this, and someone was saying, what do you do when you encounter somebody who doesn't believe in the spiritual? And I used to have that question, but I haven't had it for a long time, because another thing that I know for sure is that everybody knows that this spiritual dimension of life exists. Some of my favorite clients that I work with are MIT engineers, because they love the logic of this and they know that that dimension exists. You just have to help them find how they know it, rather than be concerned that they don't. I can keep going. You'll raise your hand when I need to stop. The formless looks like a mysterious place, but the principles make it user-friendly. And the capacity of the formless to lift people out of their stress, their anxiety, their depression, all of the diagnoses that you find in the DSM-4 or 5 or on they go, is way beyond anything that I can account for. And sometimes I'll see people, I worked recently with a guy from Google in Boston who just had a lot of stress, and then he sent me his wife who was really depressed. And she couldn't get off the couch, and she was gaining weight, and she was very, very unhappy. And I thought, well, maybe she'll need more than the usual 8 sessions. And we got to the second session, and she said, I have little glimpses once in a while of feeling better, but I could tell she wasn't very hopeful. We got to the third session, and she said, I'm feeling so much better. I can't account for it. It's like something got lifted from my shoulders. And then I said, okay, well, at the end of the session, do you want to schedule for next week? And she said, why don't I call you? I just looked at her. 3 sessions. And that's not me, it's the principles. So I know for sure that they're an incredible gift that will call people back home more quickly than we may be able to account for. And I know for sure that I am infinitely grateful to be sharing these principles with the world.